welcome to episode 13 of the Can You Geek podcast. My name is Steve. This is Errane.
Hello.
And we bring a special guest today. This is Sydney.
What?
Hello.
Now get her out of here. We don't need a special guest. What are we doing? This is unlucky episode number 13. I don't know what to tell you.
I know.
Superstitious.
We had to bring somebody new in, otherwise we'd probably implode.
That's a fair point, actually. Yeah, Sydney, you're a fan of the show, friend of the show, and you are our very first guest. That's exciting stuff.
I am so excited.
Yeah, so the topic today, which was actually suggested, I believe, by Aaron's wife, Jess, was...
It was.
Our discussion of Disney princesses and whether we think Leia should be considered in that.
No.
Which is exactly why we're bringing you on. So,
yeah,
we know Sydney's very opinionated in the subject and she's very knowledgeable. So we wanted to bring her on. Aaron and I have been doing research a little bit more than I've been doing, a little bit more than he has, just because of other issues going on with his computer.
Oh, I did a lot of reading too.
Yeah, I'm on my laptop.
Yeah,
I get to be on my laptop right now. My main PC has unfortunately crapped itself, so trying to repair that and save all of the art that I've been doing for the last 6 years and all that stuff that isn't backed up, trying to save it. So super fun. And my computer just turned itself off while we're recording, so that's super awesome.
So it's a good thing that we are on your laptop then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty, so...
I'm so excited. I'm so passionate about this.
When I saw the discussion on Facebook, I was like, this is going to be perfect. Because you were instantly, like, right in there, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so do you want to tell us a little about yourself, Sid? Your first guest, you get to kind of set the precedent here.
Well, so I've actually been listening to you guys since you started. I'm a little bit behind, but that's okay. It's all the Star Wars ones, and I've seen them all, so I'm just excited to listen to those. I live in Washington with my husband, and I stay at home with my son. That's pretty much it.
There's nothing wrong with that, though.
No. Nope, it's a lot of fun.
You live in the Pacific Northwest, which is the best place to live anyways, so.
It really is. We have better internet, Aaron.
Oh, man, the hate is real. I have no problem with the Pacific Northwest. I love it up there.
You just like your Midwest life right now. Or no, you're not even Midwest. You're like...
Almost Southeast,
I don't know
not quite Midwest.
Yeah, I mean, we're still East Coast time, but we're like barely East Coast time. We're like right on the border.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So you still get your moonshine, but you're not quite a flyover state.
There you go. Right.
All right. So in my little outline I made, I said that the first thing we would do is define what a Disney princess is. And it's very hard to find an official definitive answer on exactly what it is. The one outline I've combined a few things. Basically, from what I've understanding, and Sydney's going to correct me when I screw up, I already know, is you have to have been in a primary animated movie. So primary role in an animated movie. So a first movie not introduced in a sequel. You have to be a human or become a human. You have to be royal, marry a royal, or perform some crazy act of heroism. Your movie has to be a box office hit.
But it can't be too big.
What?
But it can't be too big. Yeah, exactly. There's like this fine line that Disney's now defining on how big a movie can be to be considered a princess.
Are you kidding me?
No. That's why Elsa and Anna from Frozen, they're not official Disney princesses because their movie was such a huge hit, they became their own franchise. Yeah. Same thing happened with Tinkerbell, too. She's part of the Tinkerbell Fairy franchise now, but she used to be a Disney princess. They took her off. There's actually a few former Disney princesses that have been removed in the past 20 years.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Is Belle still a princess?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Beauty and the Beast is...
Yep, Belle's still a princess, but she's the reason that Jane Porter from Tarzan was removed, because her color scheme is the same as Belle's, and they didn't want people to confuse the two. So that's why Jane Porter is not a Disney princess.
Yeah. So the official list right now is 12 deep. So there's 12 princesses. It's Snow White, Cinderella, Aurora, Ariel, Belle, Jasmine, Pocahontas, Mulan, Tiana, Rapunzel, Merida, and Moana.
Moana's not official yet. She has not been coronated.
Okay. But she's unofficially officially.
Yeah.
I think it's happening this year. If I was
I think so too.
understanding what I
She's been
read.
in a couple of the lineup photos that I've seen, their Disney princess line photo that they have them all lined
Yeah.
up together. She's been in a couple of those, but she's not officially on the list yet.
And I think she's been in the toys as well. Some of the toy
Yes.
lines where it says Disney Princess has Moana there.
Yep.
So yeah. So I guess technically, officially, right now there's 11 with a 12th that probably about to be added. So
Yeah, they
that is
haven't
the
officially
official list.
announced whether or not they're going to do a coronation for her yet.
Yeah. So that is our.
And that's Moana?
That is Moana.
Yeah.
The coronation for Moana.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, because she is, of her tribe, right? She is, set to be in command of the, you know what I mean? She was to replace her father, right?
Yeah. So
Right.
she has the semi-royal bloodline that way.
Right.
But you add in the heroic act as one of the qualifications to overthrow the whole royal thing. Because, Mulan is a princess. She's not royal blood. But she saved people.
She saved her
And-
entire country.
Yeah. So
Yeah, she saved China.
Exactly.
So,
You can say Moana's going to get in because she saved her entire village and probably the world at the same time. Again, so it's I can totally understand her being a princess, and actually I'm shocked they haven't officially done it.
Same here. I think part of it might also be that that movie was actually also a really huge hit in the box office. Not near as big as Frozen, but that she's towing
yeah.
the line of how successful she was.
Yeah, and it's very possible they do that where they just splinter her off and she has her own franchise, and which I almost feel bad for the other princesses, because I think if you did Mulan now, if it was first coming out now, it would be just as big.
Oh yeah.
it's funny because Frozen, that came out, and Jess and I finished watching it, and as soon as it was done, I was like, that's going to be a Broadway show.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't long after that it was, so it's kind of crazy to think about that.
Yeah.
How big that got. So that's interesting. I didn't know there was a box office. That's a silly limit. Because if not that you would take away from a little girl's fantasy of being a Disney princess, and she's like, oh, I want to be a Disney. I want to be Elsa, or I want to be Anna, and you're not going to tell her that's. Who would be the parent that would do that though? No, child.
She's not a princess.
I've got this episode for you to listen to. That's not a princess, okay? You're not a Disney princess. You're just a princess. You're not a Disney princess. So, welcome to the real world.
Well, Disney also didn't make Jasmine a Disney princess.
Yes, which is interesting.
Because she's not the main protagonist, but she had enough screen time in the movie for them to justify it.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Wait, what?
She's not.
Jasmine's my favorite. So you're messing with the bull right now.
She's- no.
Give the horns.
No, she still is a Disney princess. I'm
They
just
did,
saying that Disney.
But she doesn't fit the criteria for what they consider, yeah.
Oh.
Right. She had enough screen time to be considered a primary role. Barely.
Yeah.
Huh.
Right?
She is Raja. All right. So all I'm saying is Girl's Got a Tiger, and I'm pretty sure that there's a couple of execs that would die to Raja if they took away her Disney
Oh,
princess.
yeah. No, I don't see them.
So
Oh no, she's not in danger of being removed at all. By
Yeah,
any
I don't think they're
means.
going to
It's just
remove
when
anybody from the list anymore.
No.
I don't know why they would have in the first place. That's such a weird thing to do. I didn't realize
Oh.
Tinkerbell was ever a Disney princess. Is she royal lineage in the family or something of fairies or?
Oh my goodness. So I actually have information on why people have been removed after being added.
Go for it.
So Esmeralda from Hunchback of Notre Dame, right?
Yep.
She's not royal.
I just saw that movie for the first time a month ago.
Good. So you've got fresh eyes because I haven't seen it in probably 10 years. But she was added in 2004 to the Disney Princess line. But they removed her because her sales were not high enough for all of her products. Yeah, right? Crazy.
That's so shady.
Really?
Oh,
And
that's so
I
nasty.
already talked about Jane, but I mean, she was added in 1999, and they removed her because her color scheme, her dress, her outfit is the same color as Belle's, and they didn't want to confuse her. I mean, I already said that, but
Yeah.
and then they were close to adding Giselle from Enchanted. And the reasoning that they had for the animation part of it is because the beginning of that movie is animated. But they didn't.
I've never seen Enchanted, so I don't know what you're talking about.
It's the one with Amy Adams.
Still lost.
Okay, well, anyways, Disney didn't want to have to pay royalties to Amy Adams. So
Which
they didn't.
I can understand that from a business
Yeah.
standpoint, because that's like perpetuity. You would be paying forever for that.
Oh, yeah. So then she started out animated and becomes live action in the movie, which is argument for them to add her later because they're actually coming out with a sequel to that movie, from what I was reading.
Really? Interesting. Is it any good? Is it like worth watching?
I haven't seen it in so long, which
Yeah,
means
it's been a
probably
really long
not.
time.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, I could tell you most of the other movies I've rewatched a bunch. Hunchback was actually a pretty good movie. I did not like it. Jess had seen it forever ago, and she's like, I can't believe you've never seen this movie, and so we watched it, but
Did you watch
Well,
it
and-
Yeah,
before or
that's-
after Notre Dame was on fire?
I sure don't know. I don't remember when that happened. I think after, probably.
I think a lot of people watched it again after it burned down.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I was
I
wondering.
didn't make that connection, but isn't it all on fire in the movie? Pretty
I
sure
think it is actually.
It's kind of a little crazy because I know that a lot of stuff's on fire in the movie. I don't, you know what I mean? That's it's kind of interesting to think about. That was like a major disaster. I don't pay attention to the news enough to. I saw it on Facebook. I know that's shameful, but I don't. Yep.
Yeah.
There we go. That's how I get my information. Friends and Facebook. That's it.
It's where everybody gets their
But-
news from nowadays. So
If I don't honestly, I couldn't put a timeline on whether I watched it before or after. But I didn't make the connection when I watched it. But that's interesting to think about because I think everything ends up on fire in the movie.
Yeah.
So, and like he saves a bunch of people. It's a sad movie. It's depressing.
it is actually a really sad movie. A lot of those old movies actually are, if you think about it. Like Bambi.
Not the Jungle Book.
This is true. But Jungle Book is scary.
Jungle Book's lively and fun. It's not scary.
Oh, for a child, it is full on scary.
No way.
He is
No,
being
that cartoon was
chased the entire movie by a tiger and a really scary snake.
Oh my goodness.
Cop.
Yeah. The entire time he is about to die. Except for
I'm just saying.
No, I know. I love
he
the
gets
movie.
To
Don't
ride
even
on the
get me
belly
wrong.
of a bear down a river.
Yeah.
So and eat prickly pears. Okay, it's the bare necessities.
it's all about
That's
the bare
it is.
necessities. So before
You know
we
the
move
guy
on
that does. Oh,
Yep,
sorry.
No, go.
The guy that does the voice of Baloo also does the voice of Thomas O'Malley in Aristocats and the voice of Little John in the animated Robin Hood.
I was about to say you better mention the Robin Hood because
That is my
Thought.
favorite.
He was actually a big voice actor for Disney.
Robin
Sorry,
Hood is my
random thought.
all-time favorite Disney movie, by the way.
We
All-time
watched
favorite.
it last night.
Robin Hood's amazing. Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Wait, so is Maid Marian a Disney princess?
No, she's not a human.
Oh, wait, what's up with that? By the way, why do they have to be a human?
It's one of their
I don't know.
requirements.
That's why Nala's not a Disney princess because she's a lion.
Yep.
Oh, but Nala's awesome. She's a badass.
Yeah, and Maid Marian should be. I mean, hell, I'd even fight for her handmaid to be. That whole football
Lady
scene.
Cluck.
Lady Cluck is
Oh
incredible.
my god.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my mom used to get so many late charges because she'd rent it and then I would keep it for like 3 weeks. And then she would bring it back. And then we'd pay off the late charges and rent it again. And then same thing would happen. So for my 18th birthday, she bought it for me on DVD.
Nice.
Do they do late charges in Canada for real? You don't just go, I'm sorry, and they just tell you everything's going to be okay?
Nah, no, we still got
They'll
them.
just forgive you?
I wish they'd forgive us. That would be amazing. Maybe we'd still have Blockbuster up here if we did.
I thought apologizing was like currency up there.
For the most part, it is.
Okay.
All right.
Fair enough.
So before we go into the big topic, I just had a thought while we were doing this, and let's see if I can remember what my thought was. Do you think?
Ooh, dangerous.
Do you think that? Oh my God, my brain fart is real right now. Wreck-It Ralph.
Breaks the internet.
Yes.
Yep.
Do you think that
That
she
scene-
deserves? Does she deserve to be a princess? Because she is a
God, what was
princess.
her
It is
name?
an animated movie.
She is a princess, and she's human.
Yeah.
Well, is she human?
I mean,
She's in a video game,
character.
but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She's digital.
Penelope.
She's ones and
Princess
zeros. She's not
Penelope.
a human.
Yeah.
Penelope. Yeah, Penelope.
Because she meets the Disney princesses in Wreck-It Ralph too.
Well, and they all tell her that she
does.
is.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was them indicating that she would become a Disney princess officially. But I mean, she's not human though.
But is she? Like, that's the thing, is it's like, I know she's a video game character, but do they classify that as a human character? Because it's a human-based, humanoid shape.
I would say yes.
So, and I think it's a
But they could
popular enough
also
movie.
argue, like, how big was that movie? You know, like, were they too big?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
that
think it was
argument, too.
big. I know. Personally, I don't think it's too big. Frozen, yes, 100%. They are.
Oh yeah, Frozen was massive.
Way too big.
I mean, that's such a good movie. That Frozen's quality, man. Frozen's a. Whew. I didn't realize that they weren't Disney princesses because of their box numbers. They make too much cash. We can't crown them as Disney princesses. They make too much money.
Well, it's 'cause it
But
would-
if you don't make enough money, you're not a Disney princess
Yeah.
either. So you're either too poor or too rich to be a Disney
Yeah,
princess.
and I kind of get that thought, though, because if you do put them in as a Disney princess, then, like, Cinderella and all of them start to lose their luster because you have these two really big princesses that are going to get all the love.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, that's a thing? That's what they're worried
Yeah.
about?
Yes,
I don't-
they're worried about them overshadowing the other princesses. But then you got the other end of that coin where, like, Kida from Atlantis, Lost Empire,
Yep.
she's not an official Disney princess because they didn't do well in the box office.
Yeah,
I think that's another movie I haven't seen.
Atlantis, Lost Empire? Really?
Yeah.
I think it's on
This is
Netflix.
why we brought you in, because I'm obviously a failed attempt at making any sort of suggestions here outside of the mains. Because, like, even looking at the list of the officials, I've seen all of their movies multiple times. Like, I mean, Aladdin is my favorite movie, my favorite Disney movie, and Lion King's second. I know Nala's not a princess, but, like, Lion King's my second favorite, and I don't think that I fall short of, like, weird for that. But like, you talk about all the other movies, like even Sleeping Beauty, I watched all the time as a kid. I've seen like Snow White. I rewatched that. That's not only a very short movie, but it's really not that great as an adult. Not gonna lie, that movie's kind of meh. After I rewatched it, I think it was like a little over a year ago, I watched it and I was like, wow, that's it.
Well, it was the
That's all
first
that's all
one. That movie was made in 1937.
yeah.
Oh, I get it. No, I understand. It was just funny to see it. Like, you know what I mean? Because as a kid, it's pretty magical, but it kind of ruined it for me a little bit. But the, Jess's favorite is Belle, and it is Beauty and the Beast, which that's a fantastic movie. I'm surprised. That one shocks me that that's not too big. I don't know. Beauty and the Beast was kind of a major deal, but, like, it went to, isn't it a Broadway show?
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And yet Belle's still considered a Disney princess?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't think she'd ever be pulled out to be her own franchise.
No. Not anymore.
Well, I mean, it'd be stupid. I think she's a staple in the Disney princesses. She's she's too big to fall off the list. She's too big to fail. She's Ford.
She is Ford.
Can't go anywhere. Yeah,
She'll get a buyout. Disney will just buy her out.
yeah,
Save her.
exactly. They'll recover poor Belle. She's good to go. Oh my god.
All right, so then the controversial topic is, should Princess Leia be a princess?
Absolutely.
No. No. No.
This is why Sydney's here.
Oh my gosh,
so,
no.
Sydney, I think you should state your case. Why can't she be a Disney princess? Tell us.
Because Star Wars is too big. Number one. Number two, she's not really a princess. She was adopted. Okay, I know it's a little different in the Star Wars like world, as far as royalty goes, what happens because technically her mom was Padme, but she's not queen anymore, blah 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 blah, whatever. She's not a real
Yeah,
princess.
because Naboo
Okay.
does the rules different
She
on the
prefers
queen thing.
she prefers being referred to as General Leia, right? So there's that side. Um, let's see. I honestly,
I can
after
back you up in
looking
this. She is not in the movies enough to justify.
that too, and she's not animated. Boom.
So, by their rules, which I'm just now figuring out because I've been in disaster recovery mode the past couple days, but so my main argument why she can't be a princess is because what's she a princess of?
Exactly. Alderon's gone.
Yeah, well, it's little rocks in space. She could be
There are
princess
still
of the-
Alderanians that she could be, princess of, because there are some of them that survived, but she's still General Leia.
She can form New Asgard. And then
Yeah, I was going to compare it to Thor as well. It's so funny you went there. I was waiting for it, but you beat me to it. Yeah, she could form New Asgard. So we'll just have Alderaan and Asgard on Earth in different planets.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I think they're just going to
we'll do
make
that.
Star Wars a separate franchise as well.
Star Wars is big.
It's
I mean,
huge.
Well, if you look
Yeah,
at
it
Galaxy's
is
Edge,
massive.
like on the map of what they built, Galaxy's Edge is a third of the size of the entire current Disney park.
That's insane.
Jeez. Well, I mean, you look at how big like Hogwarts is.
Yeah.
That Hogwarts part of Universal, and I mean it's smart that they did Galaxy's Edge. It's genius. But I came in here ready to throw blows for why Leia should be a princess, mainly for one purpose, to make Sid angry, but two because I really thought that she could deserve a spot there. But if you're saying like Elsa, and because like I honestly until now I've always just said Disney princesses are Disney. I would have told you Elsa and Anna are Disney princesses. I didn't realize that there was like these rules. You kind of defeated me before I even had a chance to fight because of Disney's own.
So devil's advocate with you, though. Devil's advocate with you on that is Disney is very good at being gray when it comes to the marketing. Because you go to the Disney store and you're going to see Anna and Elsa dolls right beside the princesses. When you see marketing material, they're in the pictures with the princesses. So
Not always.
Not
Honestly,
always, but they are
with Anna and
in quite a
Elsa,
few.
normally their doll like cases or whatever. If you go and get like a Barbie or
separated.
something,
Yeah.
they say Frozen at the top. They don't say Disney at the top.
yes, and they don't say or Disney princess. It'll on the back.
That's
it'll be
how
on the
they
back saying
justify
Disney.
the. That's how they justify the separate franchises. They label things differently.
So let's take the rules away. Why don't you want her to be a Disney princess? Why don't you want to give Leia the awesomeness of being a Disney princess? Like she could redefine, like Mulan, for instance. Mulan's a Disney princess, and if I was to compare Leia to anybody, it'd be Mulan. Fierce warrior, awesome, savior and always leading stupid men to fix them. I mean, if you think about it, right? Han and Luke are morons, and Leia's awesome. So there's that. And when it comes to Mulan, they have clearly a big song about how dumb men are and how cool Mulan is. And so why can't Leia be another Mulan for the Disney Princess franchise?
You just dissed my main man, though.
Who?
I love Han Solo so much.
You shouldn't.
God, you gave me a heart attack. I thought you were going to say Luke.
No, he's a whiny little bitch.
No, isn't he though? So you're gonna find that in redemption stories, and I'm not trying to spoil the episode for you, but I actually have come around on Han Solo. I don't hate him anymore. So that's been, I know that's as
you
much
talked
as I've
about
told
that
you
in
I hate
episode
Han
10.
Solo. Yeah, exactly. Well, I've come even more.
Yeah, by
I
episode
liked young
12,
and
he
old
likes
Han
he likes
Solo.
Han Solo. So
Yeah, officially. Yep.
Perfect.
I'm not against Han Solo. I'm still not Solo on Millennium Falcon, but ever since L3 was merged with it, I don't know if I can ever hate the Millennium Falcon. So
L3
it's
is just
hard
too good
to
of a
not be that way.
character.
She was so good. So would you, aside from you believing that Han's cool enough to not be a dumb man still, and Leia's the only smart male in those groups is Chewbacca, okay? That's just straight fact, okay? And Leia clearly leads those two morons off of the ship to get away from Vader. All right, it's all because of Leia. She's the main key. Awesome. So why can't she be a Disney princess? Rules be damned. Why don't you want her to have that role?
Oh, she's not a real princess. Oh my goodness.
But why not? Neither is Mulan, so keep going. I'm listening. I'm waiting.
Yeah,
Well,
you're gonna keep.
Tick,
Well, she like
talk.
calms herself down in the corner. I could see a better argument for Rey being a princess than Leia.
Yes, I was thinking about that last night too.
But why?
Because
Leia's more of like a supporter for the
Yes.
heroes.
If
She's
you look
not
at
really the hero.
Yeah, if you look at screen time in episodes 4, 5, and 6, I would say Leia's maybe 20%. Maybe. Where if you look at episodes 7 and 8, Rey is probably closer to 50.
Well, now look at the time change in that too.
No, I know,
You're
I
talking
do.
about the
I do,
70s,
yes.
early 80s when there's, I mean, you look at all the main heroes, they're also all white, right? Like, so if you look at the time and the difference in time of when these movies have come out, like you look at like for instance Jyn Erso.
Yes.
Why wouldn't she be a Disney princess? She saved everything in Rogue One. Like she I would argue her over Rey, to be honest.
She
with
is
you.
the
But
reason for
that's-
the New Hope.
Right, exactly. So what I'm saying is why technically it doesn't matter whether she was adopted or not. She was raised royal. Okay, we're talking about Leia. And despite having minimal screen time, look at what kind of effect she's had on girls looking up to her, and in the background what she's done for the rebellion in growth. So how is she not important enough? So I said rules be damned. Okay, so we've already determined that via the rules of Disney, she can't be a Disney princess. Okay, so rules be damned. Let's kick the rules aside. Pretend that Elsa and Anna and all these other ones are just naturally Disney princesses because they're, they fit the bill. So being royalty, right, a fierce warrior, did help in saving everybody, right? She assisted in that. Like, she's big. And now, not only in the original trilogy, but now in the new trilogy, she is a major character in the background. And to the point where in The Last Jedi, she is a major force for getting Poe to stop being an idiot and fix, to see where Admiral Hordo's overall plan was. Like, she sees the bigger picture. So she might not have the screen time, but she is important enough.
I
right?
guess
Would you
rules.
disagree with that?
I guess rules be damned. I would tend to agree with you solely because of the impact that she has had on young women over the course of the past 30 years.
Yeah.
Big, right? Like a strong, and I'll give Lucas that. He put and I'm not saying that it didn't exist elsewhere, but he put a strong female lead in a movie when in times where women were still fighting to just be, noticed as strong enough, right? Like to be recognized for the fiercity that they can be. And Leia was a good hero for that role model. When you had, the Snow Whites and the Auroras and stuff like that weren't really, they were more your traditional princessy style. And then not until we got Mulan, Princess Leia kind of held this regard there. And I get that she wasn't owned by Disney then, but she is now. And her history still stands, right, where she is, and I mean, she's a big deal.
If they were to throw out the rules for how you can be a Disney princess, I could see why they would want her to be a Disney princess.
Yeah.
All right, so I need to give a snippet of that so I can play it every time I see Sid.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So
that's recorded. I have.
If you threw out all the rules, if you threw out all the rules.
So being that we are throwing out the rules, because the other topics we had, they would have just been no's because they don't fit the rules no matter what. And it's interesting to talk about. Are there other characters in the Disney expanded universe that we think should be a princess? So for example, like Shuri. I don't think Gamora.
Yeah, from the Marvel Universe.
From the Marvel Universe. There's so many from the Marvel Universe that could be in there.
Who would you give that credit to in the Marvel Universe?
I
like Shuri.
Shuri, I think,
mainly
for sure.
because Shuri's in royalty, but that's like, and that's the thing, because I know there's exceptions like Mulan and stuff, but for the most part, most of these women do hold a royal lineage of some sort, right? Like, I get that Mulan doesn't, but the rest of them do, right?
So the reason I 100% think Shuri should be there if they were going this way is she's royal, yes, but she is an insanely good role model for young women because they write her character so well in that she is intelligent. She's not afraid of being intelligent and showing how smart she is. She's not afraid of showing that when she's young. Because there was even in Black Panther where one of the other tribes was like, oh, but you have, an 18-year-old running your science department. And it's like, well, yeah, look at how good she is. Of course she's running the science department. And so it's things like that to me should ascend into like a Disney princess level if they got rid of the animated rule requirement.
Right, and if they got rid of the animated rule requirement, I think Shuri would probably fit the bill best out of all of the Marvel characters.
Yeah. I know before we recorded you mentioned Gamora. No. As much as I like her character and the movies are amazing, no.
No, I totally agree with you. I agree with you. I'm just saying that there has been talk of adding her to it, but she doesn't fit the bill because she's not animated.
Yeah.
And she's also not the main protagonist in her movies.
She's also not human.
This is true.
Fact. Yep.
So I do agree that, Shuri's been one of my favorite characters made in a movie. Like, I would just want to watch more of her. She's hilarious. And she is smart and awesome, but mainly she makes me laugh. Like, the way she picks on everyone is amazing. Like, it's just so good. And I like any character that's going to pick on people because, it's funny.
The whole, what are those to his shoes? Yeah. I'm really looking forward to Black Panther 2.
Yeah, she made me laugh so much. And the actress did such an amazing job with it. And the writing crew that wrote all the lines. And it's just all around, she was an incredible character. And I think that there's a good argument there for her as a Disney princess. I'm not sure if I would argue for many others. I don't know. Marvel Universe is kind of weird, right? Because they're all just heroes. Yeah. Right, so they're doing extravagant acts, but Shuri is one of few that comes from an actual royal type lineage or anything near to that. I think, and it really is crazy because Mulan is someone that I think they had to rewrite the rules for, probably in the background.
Yeah.
To get her in, right? Because she didn't even marry into royalty, right? That she's just a bamf. Like, that's it. Like, she saved the dynasty and did an amazing thing for China. But you look at every other one of them, and they all come from some, whether it be like a chieftain type lineage or like a tribal type lineage or a royal type lineage. They come from some sort of leadership.
Yeah. Did they
role
at the end? It's been a while since I've watched Mulan. At the end, did she marry the soldier?
I think they intended to. I don't know if they actually did. They made a Mulan too, so I don't know if they did. But he's not royalty either. He's just a general.
He's just a general.
Yeah, he's big in the military, right?
Yeah.
So is there any other characters though that you could see?
Well, okay, so Fox also owns they made Anastasia. Do you remember that movie?
That's such a good movie. Oh my gosh.
She fits the bill.
She does, and she is animated.
They also made Fern Gully.
Oh my god, get out of here. Oh, Fern Gully's so good.
Yeah, so Krista could be added in the future too.
You mean Avatar 1?
Yes, Avatar 1.
Wow.
James Cameron saw the genius in the movie and he was like, oh I can do that. I'm just going
to redo it with
I can do that again. Yeah, and they'll just be big instead of small, right?
They actually also talked about adding that one chick from Avatar too, but she's not human, so you can't really.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're going non-human, then I'm full on. You have to go Robin Hood. Like,
Maid Marian would be. She would have my vote.
I would argue Lady Cluck. I could put down Lady Cluck. Again, small screen time, but she drove a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff happened because of her.
Oh, yeah.
All I'm saying is that I agree with you, and I don't know why the human rule is there. That's weird to me. I always thought Nala was a Disney princess. I didn't realize Nala wasn't, and I didn't realize there was a human rule.
I mean,
And I think it's a silly
she
rule.
is a princess. She's just not part of the official Disney
Yeah.
princess franchise that they have.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at. Like I don't. I guess and it's all probably marketing. I mean, well, it is marketing, right? It's all a marketing thing behind the scenes. It's them. Like you said, if you're big enough to be your own sect, then why not just make more money off of that? Like you were saying in the shadowing. But I mean, wouldn't it also be smart that if you're selling like a Disney pet princess package, that if you have Elsa and Anna in there, if they
Yeah.
are that much more popular, that it just means that they buy everything?
You would think so. Yeah, you would definitely think
I don't
so.
know.
I mean, Disney princesses are such a major deal in Disney.
Yeah.
I mean, that was their main, aside from Mickey, before they had Star Wars, before they had Marvel, National Geographic, Fox, all these other things they've acquired in time, they had the princesses. I mean, the princesses were the big deal. And those classic movies were what made Disney Disney. So, how do you feel the power of the princesses changed since acquiring all these different? Do you think that they still hold the same power in Disney?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, even so, my sister just recently took their entire family, so her husband, and her two kids, to Disneyland. And she got pictures of my niece Harper with every single princess that they came to.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I think the princesses are still huge. They're still important. And honestly, I like the fact that they've grown so much as far as who they've added, like adding Mulan and possibly adding Moana. Like they're not your typical Disney princess. Oh, I'm gonna dance and sing my way through and talk to animals and find
Damsel in
yeah
distress.
find a
or-
man, that type of thing. But
Right.
I mean, and even Rapunzel from Tangled, she
Yeah.
just wanted to go see the lanterns. She wasn't
Oh,
expecting
that movie is so good.
It's James's favorite. I've seen it probably 100 times in the past month.
The her little chameleon is one of my favorite characters in a movie.
Pascal, yes, he's my
Pascal,
favorite too.
It's weird. It's one thing you'll notice when you start listening to like the Star Wars episodes is I've been finding these small characters that I've just like latched onto in like every movie I've been watching lately, and it's just weird to me.
Yeah, and I kind of what I was segueing into, like Disney princesses for me is a personal big deal in my life. So so Jess, her favorite Disney princess is Belle.
Right.
Has been forever, and since I've known her, I've known that's important. So we planned a trip to Disney World, and I took her to the Cinderella's palace, got a whole deal set up where we sat near a window to see the fireworks, and then my grown-up wife, has a book she was getting the princesses' signatures as they walked by. So they court all the princesses in the Cinderella's palace as like a special event. They court them all to your table, and like Jess is already crying. There's fireworks going. She's got all these people dressed up as Disney princesses' signatures, and we're determined to get the rest of them. Like that's important, and it was such like a magical thing because I was into it. Like that's what surprised me is I was like, we got to get their signature. We got to get their signature. We're grown ass people. Like but the magic of Disney, I still think holds that power so much. And then as I followed up, she's my wife now, but at the time she was my girlfriend, and in Disney's park there at Disney World in Florida in Cinderella's palace, I made her my fiance. So I proposed there, and that's Disney now holds like a special place even more so than it already did. But the magic of the princesses and what those classic movies bring, I still do think hold a candle. But it's nice to hear that you guys agree with that, because I think that's Disney magic. I mean, that's what makes Disney Disney. And I mean, even when Steve threw out the teaser, I think people get excited to talk about the princesses and what they are and what they mean to them. And
I still have my autograph book from when I went to Disneyland when I was 5, and I haven't been to Disneyland since.
that's so awesome. And see, and it's the magic of that. And like I'm sure all of us now we're adults, but we want all those movies for our kids. And I know that Steve and I talked about in the Disney Plus episode how excited we are that they are releasing all the vaulted movies. That the vault won't be a thing anymore when Disney Plus comes out. And
Oh my god, I'm so excited for that.
right, and that's huge. That's a huge thing that we are all excited about, and we want for our kids to grow up with, and their kids, and their kids. Like, we want that magic, and that's where Disney gets to make all their money from us, because they get to do that sort of thing. So I don't. Did you say who your favorite Disney princesses are, Sid?
I didn't, because I don't have a favorite. I just love them all.
Give me top 3. Come on.
Top 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, Pocahontas, Belle, and probably Jasmine. But Rapunzel's up there now too, just because I've watched it so much.
Yeah, you're loving it. So is Ariel not a princess because she's not human?
No, she
Nope,
is.
Or
Ariel,
is she considered...
Ariel became human. She is
So
a princess.
she
She's in there.
qualified,
So all you have to do
God,
is
but I
get a
love her
race,
too.
or not a race, but what do you want to call it? Like, well, I guess human race. You just gotta get a change of to become kind of like an avatar when the dude becomes a
Yes.
alien. You just got to do the reverse procedure for that. You got to become human, and then so Nala just needs to become a human, and then she'll be a princess. Yay, congratulations,
So I checked
Nala.
Disney's while we were talking. Disney's official website, Moana is listed as a princess.
Really?
Okay,
Because they don't have.
is Penelope?
No, it's the 12 I had listed off. So she is officially considered a princess according to Disney.
Well, because she doesn't have.
She hasn't been coronated though. No, she
Yeah.
hasn't. But on their official website, she is one of the 12.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then.
What do you mean coronated? Talk to me. I know what a coronation is, but like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
physical
so they
coronation?
do
What does
that
mean?
at one of their Disney parks. They'll do a full-on coronation for them. I found the video from when they did the coronation for the most recent one they added.
Merida? Yeah.
Merida.
Merida. I love Merida. I love Brave. Brave's such a good. Jess isn't as big a fan of that movie, but I love that movie. So Merida is a Disney princess
Yes.
then.
Yes.
So she's another example of like that. Well, I mean, unlike Mulan, where Mulan doesn't come like from royal lineage, Merida does. But she's also a very strong-willed, like independent fighter and warrior and fierce, and and her 3 brothers are some of the most adorable characters ever in a film, in my opinion.
Oh, they are. They're so
They're
awesome.
so cute, and they're even cuter as little bears, little bear cubs. So, but like, and what I love about that one is, you look at princesses. Honestly, I mean, I'm looking at the picture here, and how many of them have relationships with their moms?
Pretty much none.
And I thought that was
Yeah.
something cool about Merida. Or it's very like minimal, right? Like you don't get a lot of time. I think there's a couple of them they do, but that was one thing cool about Merida, and a couple of the others is when they show that relationship between their mother, because like a lot of times the parents are dead or the mom isn't there, and I think it's cool to see kind of that relationship and stuff, because you see it with their dad and stuff a lot, which is another thing with Merida, which is really neat, is a lot of girls end up being kind of daddy's girls, in a way, and like how much her dad encouraged her to be awesome.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
The only
Which I thought was neat,
the only
too.
other princesses who actually have moms that are alive are Mulan,
Yeah.
Tiana, and Rapunzel, but Rapunzel didn't even grow up with her real mom. She grew up with Mother Gothel.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's evil.
Yeah.
And crazy.
But Tiana and her mom's
yeah.
relationship was really good. And then Mulan,
Yeah, and that was the other one. Tiana's, that one's big.
Mulan, you don't really see her interactions with her mom very much. You just see her interact with her father more.
Right. Well, and what was cool about Milan is I don't like to bring that parental. Well, I do and I don't, only because like that showed what that China Dynasty era was really like. It kind of shows a product of the times, and kind of helped boost what Mulan was even more. The fact that she was willing to be kind of an independent fighter and break the mold, if you will, from what like her mother wanted her to be. To get the dolled up and be betrothed to somebody, and she fought that typical thing, and even her dad, it was a dishonor to the family and stuff, and I thought that was neat. But you're right, like Tiana and her mother, that's huge, right? Because that was showing like a single mom bringing up her daughter, because right, her I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but her dad like died when she was young, didn't
Yeah,
he?
he went off to war.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like that was a cool relationship. But you look at like Cinderella, and it's what, the evil stepmother,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
Aurora got stolen or was put to
Went
sleep,
to sleep.
Yep.
Yeah.
and then yeah, and put away. And then Belle, yeah, she doesn't have her mom at all.
Yeah, she's just got her
I don't
crazy
remember
dad.
Pocahontas. Is Pocahontas, does she have her mother, or is it just her dad?
I think it's just her dad.
Yeah,
It's been a long time
Pocahontas only
since
has her
I've
dad. Chief Powhatan.
Okay. Okay, got it.
So
So yeah, and then Jasmine's just a sultan, right?
yeah,
So,
and being that you were bringing up the whole strong, independent thing, it's maybe even part of a reason why Elsa and Anna aren't, because they were the first ones to truly like save themselves without help. Merida did, but like they required no outside assistance really. Like Kristoff and Han, they were useless. Like completely useless. Yeah, so because I know that's one of the big arguments too for them is why they're such big characters is they didn't need anybody. It was just the two sisters. There was no love interest, there was nothing, it was just the two sisters. And I know originally that's why people had issue with Merida becoming a princess, because she was like this independent, strong-willed little girl, and people were like, well, that's not really what princess is about. And they were like, well, no, but it is. So the argument kind of goes both ways. It's like, well, that's why they fought to have Merida in, but at the same time, that's part of the reason why they were saying Frozen wasn't. So it's...
well, and Sid, I don't want to overstep here at all, but like I've always known you. You're one of the like most untraditional women as far as like you like to do stuff. You like to get your hands dirty. You like to get like in vehicles, and you like your big trucks, and
Yeah.
you're a country girl, right? So, but you also like to get dolled up. You like to get in a pretty dress and dress up and do cool things like that. You're a good mix of both. Who, like growing up, do you like seeing these more independent women like showing up? Like when Mulan was a thing, was that a big deal for you? Vice like some of the women that you've seen that are more traditionally need a man to help them or need that like assistance?
You know, I when I up until the age of like maybe 4 or 5, you wouldn't believe this now, but I actually was very girly and I loved my princesses and they were all the best. And it wasn't until I discovered that dirt washes that I actually started to become more of a tomboyish type kid. And that was around the age of like 4 or 5. So, I mean, I've always loved the princesses. I always wanted to be one of the princesses. We used to dress up and try to pretend, like make believe and all that stuff. And I actually got my brother dressed up in a dress once. He doesn't listen to this, so he's never going to get mad at me for saying that. But
in all honesty, is he older or younger?
I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest, yeah. So any sibling that has an older sibling is forced to do what the older sibling wants them to do. So every boy that is not the oldest has either been dressed up or had makeup applied. Whether they admit it or not, that has more than likely happened to them.
I don't think we ever actually got makeup on him, but he did dress up in dresses with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we've all of us kids. There's 5 of us, and we all grew up with all of the Disney movies, and they just have had a huge impact on our lives.
And
Period.
I think most people are that way. Like,
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
the amount of impact Disney has had on the world and is about to have even more with how big they're getting. It's crazy to think.
It's insane. It's insane. They own so much now. Like, oh, let's see, ABC, ESPN, Marvel, Lucasfilm, History Channel, Lifetime, National Geographic, Fox. Like, they own so much now that they're just gonna get bigger. And there's really only like 1 or 2 other companies out there that owns a lot of stuff. Like,
Yeah, Comcast owns a lot.
Time Warner, they own like HBO, Warner Brothers, DC, all that. So,
So Sid, you'd say that like Disney, the power that it holds, and with your sisters and your siblings and growing up and having fun playing in that world, like just, I guess you found that dirt wasn't like a problem. It washes off, so that means it's time to have fun and do other things, and kind of that tomboyish way that you're talking about. But would you say that I guess what Mulan would have been? I guess you would have been pretty young actually when Mulan happened. Now that
I was 8 years old. Mulan came out in 1998.
Okay, because I'm not saying that there aren't other princesses worthy of like looking up to in that regard or whatever. Like I feel like Mulan's was a big stepping stone for Disney in the direction of showing just like powerful women in powerful positions doing amazing things and changing the world without the help of so many other people, right?
Absolutely.
And like I think that was the beginning of that. So I just do you think that had an influence specifically? Like when you said when you were kind of girly girl up until you're like 4 or 5, and you did that. Would you say that like you tended to veer more towards like the more traditional princesses, and as you got older, maybe you looked up to the other ones, or did those traditional princesses still hold those same like that soft spot in your heart because just nostalgia is like such a powerful thing?
I do still have a soft spot for the original princesses. I do, but I I don't know if maybe the stronger characters had an influence on how I am the person I am today, so much as, growing up around my dad. But I mean, Disney movies in general have had a huge impact in my life, so I can't really say that Mulan wasn't a huge contributing factor to why I am the way I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I don't. Obviously, Disney movies aren't the reason people are the way they are. I guess just as a woman, that's one thing Steve and I don't have. We don't have like a woman's perspective of the princesses growing up and like how how maybe you felt about each one and their changes and like things you did or didn't like out of each princess, or if you just enjoyed them all and loved them all and it was just any impact whatsoever. So
I enjoyed them all for the most part. It never really bothered me like if they were super dependent on finding a man or that kind of thing. Like it never really bothered me. It was all just kind of the romanticism.
You just enjoyed it,
Yeah.
like purely for the entertainment of this is awesome and like this is fun. Yeah, for whether it be for love or for self identity or really breaking the mold of something. You just appreciated each individual story for what it was.
Yes.
You weren't looking for a specific trend or a way the princess regarded themselves or anything. You just appreciated what story they were in and what they did to fight their fight, however that was, whether it be falling in love or whether it be fighting the war in China, and in the case of Milan, or like, even all the way to Merida, where she's like fighting the mold of who she's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Which I guess, Mulan was doing, but I mean, in the eyes of royalty, where, this marriage is what keeps the peace, right? In her regard, and, in her life or whatever. And she didn't want to be restricted to that. Right. Cool. That's awesome. Yeah. And like you guys were saying, I mean, Disney has become massive, and we've definitely, Steve, Disney is the major part of everything we've produced in the geek world.
Pretty much.
Disney owns so much of the geek world. Like they own all the things that are precious to us. You mentioned all those different companies, Sid, and I mean, honestly, that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot that they have and a lot of influence, and regardless of whether people feel like they're above the influence of entertainment and what it does. I mean, truly, it is a big part of us and the world that we live in now with the technological advances and everything, and how much more accessible seeing these different shows and stories and, reality TV is growing. So there's a lot of documentaries and stuff that are coming out and looking into that. And these are very real people with real things. Yeah, they're maybe dressed up a little bit for Hollywood, but, there's a lot of things out there that we're seeing, and Disney owns all that. It's just crazy how big they've gotten, and they go from the influence of just some really cool retold stories, right? Like, and some original stories from Disney, telling them from the eyes of really these powerhouses that have been the princesses of Disney. I mean, those famous three circles that make up Mickey Mouse,
Yep.
right? So those two things I think have been the pillars of Disney and what they've really held on to, aside from making some really cool nature documentaries. And now we're to the point where, like you said, they own everything.
Yeah, because I
Oh,
think
yeah.
one of the biggest attractions at Disneyland is the castle. For everybody that goes, they want to see the castle because it's in the beginning of every Disney movie. So it's smart marketing.
Oh yeah. I actually found like this huge like info map of all of the companies that Disney owns, and
think
oh
I've
my
seen it.
God, it is insane.
I'm pretty sure it's the one that's inside the ears. It's
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because you listed off just the entertainment ones they owned. But if you start
yeah.
looking at even
Oh, yeah.
like the building companies they own, there is a lot of behind the scenes stuff that you don't realize how big Disney really, really is.
Oh yeah.
And I'll put that in the show notes for the people listening. I'll throw that infographic link in there so people can see it to know
Yep,
what
I just
we're
put it-
talking about.
I just put it in there. I posted the link in our discussion,
Yes.
not in
yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's really crazy to see how much they truly own now, especially like because this includes what they bought with Fox.
the. Oh yeah.
So we agree, Leia's the princess. All rules be damned,
Oh
right?
my goodness, you're never gonna let me live that down.
No, you're not.
So does that mean you'll wear that shirt with pride that Jess and I got you?
Yeah, if it'll ever fit again, yeah.
Wait, what is this shirt? I saw the post on the Facebook thing. What is this shirt?
Best Disney princess ever, and it's a picture of Leia on it. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. I'm almost there. I'm almost down to where I can fit into some of my old stuff again.
It's surprising how quick you can
Yep,
lose
it's funny.
after a
You're
kid.
coming down.
Yeah.
Jess is getting bigger. Baby's growing up.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yes.
Well, I think this is a good way to transition off the show to end our episode. We've been talking for almost an hour.
Oh my goodness.
So thank you so much for joining us, Sid.
Oh yeah, of
Yeah, we
course.
really loved having
I
you.
enjoyed myself a lot.
You're our first guest. You've broken that wall.
Yes.
Yeah, we figured it was a good time because, we were finishing up our Star Wars trilogy and this was a good topic that we had talked about before after Jess had mentioned it. And then I was like, well, it ties in because we just finished Star Wars.
Yeah, why
Yeah.
not talk about Star Wars more?
Yeah.
Right?
We'll talk about Star Wars forever.
Oh
I
man,
mean,
I,
I
could
have a
talk
feeling
about Star
we're
Wars
just-
forever.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to talk about Disney forever. I don't think we're ever going to get rid of it. As much as I want to go back to let's do Warner Brothers stuff. Let's do DC stuff. They're not doing anything fun.
Oh, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
When Joaquin Phoenix does Joker, we've got that.
No, I know. And I want to talk to you about the casting they've just recently done and stuff. So we do have stuff to talk about.
And one last question, Sid, since we are talking Star Wars and you love Star Wars, are you looking forward to episode 9?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Are you looking forward to episode 9?
Yes and no.
Fair enough.
I just
Well, once
I feel like I've been
What's that?
disappointed by a couple of them recently, and I just don't want to get my hopes up. You know what I mean?
well, I can't wait till you listen to the catch up on our podcast and yell at me for all the things I've said then. It's going to be great.
Yeah, yell at Aaron a lot. That's the best part of it.
Yeah, my mom was listening to our podcast for the first time ever, and she started with the Game of Thrones episode, and she said all she did was yell at us the whole time.
Oh yeah.
So
Yep.
I mean, we were very standoffish in that one.
yeah, I don't think we fit the mold of everybody's feelings on that show. So
Oh, you didn't.
Sid,
You didn't. I mean, I
Yeah,
agreed with you guys though.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, we have somebody who agreed with us.
And this is
Steve.
why she's our
I-
first guest. No.
I enjoyed
Yeah, that's why she's
it.
here.
And I thought that it actually
No, I
ended as
appreciate
well
that.
as it could. So all the haters can
Well,
just suck it.
Yeah. Well, the funniest part, the more that stuff comes out is George R.R. Martin is like, yeah, that was my ending. That's what I wanted them to do. So it's like,
Oh my god. So people need to just shut up.
yeah, he's like, that was full on the idea I told them. And
Let it go. Let it go.
there you go.
Let it
Tie it
go.
in.
There we go. Let
So
Elsa know
one thing
the
I did
princess
find
is
out, just because we started talking about Game of Thrones, did you know in the very first teaser poster they put out, there is a raven sitting on the throne.
For like the very beginning of Game of Thrones?
The very beginning, it's the dad, Eddard Stark, sitting on the throne, thinking,
yes!
with a raven sitting right behind him.
Mind blown. Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. People are like,
God, I love it. I love it when people are sad.
Do you know where I found that? I found that out through an interview that was done for Dark Phoenix. Jessica Chastain said it to oh my god, my brain is not working. To Phoenix, Dark Phoenix.
Sophie Turner?
Yes. Said it to Sophie Turner and she was like, "What? No? Seriously?"
I didn't use the internet for that, by the way. I pulled that out of my
I'm
hat.
proud of you.
Oh my gosh.
So Sophie Turner was completely shocked in that interview. And they're like, "No." And then if you look it up, he's sitting on the throne with a raven right behind him. And it's like,
that's so dope.
I can visualize that. I can visualize that poster right now. And yeah, mind blown.
Yeah,
Dang.
I was completely mind blown. And I've been trying to bring it up, but we've been talking about Star Wars, so it hasn't worked.
Well, here we are. Bringing it to you guys that haven't
in the
seen
Disney
it out
Princess
there listening.
episode. We brought in Game of Thrones.
We talk about Game of Thrones. Hey, you know what? It's talking about royalty.
This is true.
Okay,
well, there you go.
Over.
Yeah.
All right, it's all good.
And the Starks take over the world. So
Bran's 3-Eye Raven. He can be a pretty princess if he wants to. So he can be anything he wants to be. Steve, tell him how to reach us.
I'm on Twitter at CanYouGeek. He's Southam Designs. And then Facebook group is CanYouGeek. Patreon is CanYouGeek as well. Or CanYouGeek podcast. No, it's CanYouGeek. Yeah, it's all have it out there.
Yeah,
and then
people will
Sid,
find it.
if people want to get in touch with you, if they like the way you talked, is there any way that you want them to get in touch with you?
He needs some creepy following. Is that something you want in your life,
I do
Sid?
have a Twitter and an Instagram. At Sid Stare on Twitter, and then on Instagram, I am Squitters. With an underscore in between the two D's. Yeah, don't laugh. That's been my nickname since high school, okay?
Oh my God, it's so good.
And I'm Squid on Discord, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. And we loved having you, Sid. Thanks for being
Thank you
our
so
first
much.
guest,
Oh,
and
yeah,
all
thanks for
your input.
having me.
It's been a pleasure. I
And,
like the not having to hear Aaron's voice the whole time.
That's fair. I liked also not having to hear my own voice the whole time.
Let me know if you ever want me to come back.
Oh
yeah, there's plans in the works already. We're talking about things, so yeah. Well, that's a surprise for another day. Steve will put a teaser out at some point. Either way, that we haven't discussed with you yet, but you're part of a plan, you know. But thanks everybody for listening to us, and we love everybody giving us feedback and just hanging out for the show.
Thank you all. Later, nerds.
Later, nerds.
Later, nerds.
Today's music is used by permission from the artist Broke for Free. The song is called Something Elated. You can find it on freemusicarchive.org